Stockdale, San Antonio. Talk that inspires change. Music that revives memories. The Powerful 1520. The views and opinions expressed on KYND 1520 talk programs are those of the host, guest, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its owners, management, other hosts, or advertisers. Show topics on this station may include conversations on any lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practices. KYND, a Synergy Broadcasting Company.
Good morning. Welcome to Zakiya Larry Live. Listen, I hope that some folks on the line are spillovers from the Les Brown Motivational Hour, because we just had an incredible conversation, not just about overcoming adversity, overcoming adversity, but also being able to stand in your truth. And I think that is so apropos as we go into what I'm looking forward to talking to you today on Zakiya Larry Live. So, if you are watching on Facebook, you may see that I have on an interesting little get up today. So, by the way, before I get into any of that, I just want to say good morning to the Houston area. Good morning, San Antonio. And good morning, people across the globe, because you can also stream and watch Zakiya Larry Live online. You can go to ZakiyaLarryLive.com. That way, if you're in your office and you're sending some emails, you can just toggle back and forth between screens so that you can listen and not get caught watching the show in studio. But also, if you're on Facebook, you can go to KYND Radio, and I'm sharing the link of this live show so you can hear it, you can see it, and most importantly, you can be a part of it. So I'm going to give you the number to call in right now, because today we're having a very insightful conversation, and I'm about to tell you what that is in a minute, but write this number down, 832-230-5592, 832-230-5592, because today we want to hear from you. Okay, so full disclosure, before I introduce some incredible guests that I have on the line and in the studio, I got to tell you, I have been on the road, I think, 3.5 weeks, something like that. So what that means is I pack 2 giant suitcases and I just travel around the country. And so I don't even know where I am right now. I have no idea what city I'm in. But I recently came back from New Orleans, and there was a conference called the Kings and Queens Conference. And this was a training for the leadership, the royal courts of Hbcus. That stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities. It's an acronym. Every letter means something. Hbcu, Historically Black Colleges and Universities. And so these student leaders were there, and I had a chance to do the opening keynotes. And I talked to them about using their reign, using their power for purpose, and to not just shift the campus, but to shift the trajectory of their lives. And I also had a chance to do some on-site mentoring, and it's so incredible because I talked to my producing team and my producer out of New York, Charles Williams. I'm going to tell you more about him in a second. He was saying, you know what, let's do an HBCU show. And I thought that was phenomenal, because here's what I know for sure about HBCUs. I know that they were born from a very trying history. I know that HBCUs were created for students that were not given the opportunity to express their educational desires and even grow. As a matter of fact, I don't even like saying given the chance, because these folks have been scholars who were just barred from having a seat at the table from contributing. And so that's the history of HBCUs. And we're going to get into the present of HBCUs and even the future. And it's so awesome that I had the opportunity to speak at that conference because I am a graduate of an HBCU, Texas Southern University, which brings this conversation back full circle. That's an interesting getup that I have on this morning. So if you're watching on Facebook, I have my Texas Southern University t-shirt on. I got my coordinating outfit, and we're just having a good time here in the studio talking about higher education, but most specifically HBCUs. My question is, do we even still need them? Do we even still need them? And we're going to get into that in a moment. I know people who have a few thoughts and decisions on that and thoughts on that. But let me introduce my guests that we will be talking to today. So, of course, I already told you about Charles Williams, but I'm going to be all like professional. Yes. Charles E. Williams Jr.
That's me.
That is you. That is you. Let me tell you something. Everybody has a resume and a rap sheet. And on this man's resume, he's a television content creator and filmmaker. He's worked with powerful projects like Brown Babies. Let's see, Mission to Sassier, born in Houston. I mean, like Charles.
Houston.
H-Town.
Yeah, I actually grew up on this side of town.
No way.
And I've been away for about 30 years.
But where have you been for 30 years?
I've been working in New York at CBS Television, which has afforded me to go on and do a lot of great things since graduating from my school, Prairie View A&M University.
Pause for the cause. Is that an HBCU?
Of course it is.
So as we see, Charles is a New York City producer who's also a radio producer here with Zakiya Larry Live, a graduate of an HBCU, and in studio with us today.
And I am happy to be home. It's wonderful. Every time I come home, I say to myself, how can I stay? Do I have to go back to New York?
No, you don't, Charles.
Well, I got a couple more years.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm trying to force him into retirement because we want him here in Houston in H-Town.
Oh, it's coming soon.
Okay, good. Hey, you heard it here first. Wait, is that okay to even say? Like,
absolutely.
Is the folks in New York are going to be like, wait,
no,
I don't
might.
like that.
Well, they might.
They're
probably watching.
Do we have a scandal brewing on Zakiya Larry Live? No. So we're also going to talk
Well, but also I'm not 23 anymore.
Okay. Well, see, I didn't know because of your cheekbones. I kind of just assumed.
Help me, Father God.
Charles, do not be upset that you have good genes. I don't know.
Lord.
That's a whole nother show. We're going to have to talk about.
My head is getting bigger than the studio.
We're going to have to talk about not accepting your good gene power. No, but we also have on the line with us. This is a panel of incredibly educated men, actually. We're going to talk to Terry Spivey. As a matter of fact, he's a graduate of Prairie View A&M University as well.
Terry and I were students at Prairie View together in the communications department, the theater department, and both of us went to New York and kind of said, we got to put Houston on the map. And both of us had an opportunity to do that.
I love that. And we're going to hear more about what Terry does in just a moment. And then we're also going to talk to Stephen Board, and he is a graduate of Lincoln, right?
Yes, Lincoln University. Stephen is a good friend of mine. I met in New York a few years ago, and he's done incredible things. I mean, he's worked with 100 Black Men's Organization. Okay. He's really one of those type of men that believes in not only reaching up, but reaching back. Wow. And he'll go into all those details.
Absolutely.
And he's really one of those good brothers that believes in full circle things.
I love it. So he has a philanthropy and business part, too, because he's CEO of For the Kids Foundation and a graduate of an HBCU. So I'm loving this. So we have an HBCU panel happening right now. But listen, before we get into this panel of men, and I want each of you to answer the question if we still need HBCUs, it is time, of course, for my favorite segment. It's called Wait, What?
Wait, what?
Listen, if you're just now joining us, Wait, What is one of those segments where I ask a question. I ask you to tell me something that has made you say, wait, what? It's usually an uncomfortable experience or a funny experience or something really random that has happened to you. And so we're talking about HBCUs and we're talking about college. And so my question is, from a wait, what perspective, has there been anything that happened to you during your college years that made you say, wait, what? Uh-oh. Well, that you can tell on air that won't get my show kicked off?
No, it won't get your show kicked off the air. But I tell you, the reason why I believe in HBCUs. Because,
well, what's your wait, what? What happened in college?
I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
So I get to Prairie View thinking, I'm the big man on campus. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm in the theater department. I'm in the communications department. I'm running around trying to be in the ROTC program. Got my first grades, 0.95. And I freaked out.
I bet your parents were like, wait, what?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But of course, that was a wake-up call for me.
Yes.
And every semester after that, I was on honor roll and dean's list.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it shows that you can turn anything around that you're doing. And the reason why I enjoy and I believe in HBCU is because it's more of a nurturing environment. A lot of kids, like when I graduated high school, look, my grade point average was probably 2.6.
Okay.
Which is what, a high C?
Okay.
But I was able to go there, get involved in a lot of things, try to find my voice,
Sure.
whether it was being on the radio or producing news shows. But it gave me an opportunity to grow into the person I am today.
But see, to even get to that point, you had to overcome an incredibly low, and I'm glad you didn't get kicked out, by the way, because you're who you are today because you experienced that. Well, my wait what is that when I was in undergrad, I was very involved in a lot of activities on campus, similar to what you mentioned, Charles. And at that time, I was Miss Texas Southern University, which is a high honor. Remember, I just spoke at a conference for leadership on campus for kings and queens. And I was just so exhausted. So I said, I'm going to go to an off-campus party with the guy I was seeing at the time. You know, you want to go off-campus and let your hair down. So we go across town, across Houston, to go into this party. And I'm just ready, honey, to just let loose, shake a tail feather. I walk into the party, and the DJ goes, "Yo, Miss TSU in the house." I was like, "Wait, what?" I couldn't even act a fool. I couldn't even do it. I was still on the clock. So just things like, but that's an opportunity that was afforded to me.
You had to use your resume, not your rap sheet.
I had to use my resume, but I was trying to tap into my rap sheet, and those days were over. So that's our little wait what segment. What happened to you in college? Come on.
Wait, what?
So make sure you're going onto Facebook and watching the stream. Use hashtag ZLLive. Tell me what's something random that happened to you in college that made you say, wait, what? And, things that you can share that wouldn't embarrass your mom. So, but listen, when we come back from break, we're going to talk about the significance of HBCUs and if they're still needed with the panel that I just shared with you. Be sure to tune in. No opinion is wrong. It's just yours. Let's get into this. You are listening to Zakiya Larry Live.
Hey, go refresh your coffee or send that quick email and come right back. There's more coming up next on Zakiya Larry Live.
Calling all side hustlers, business owners, and full-time entrepreneurs. It's time for your breakthrough. If you've been struggling with the frustration of how to get unstuck in your industry, then you must join us at KYND Studios as we present the Breakthrough Business Brunch. At the brunch, you'll find answers to those pesky problems all new side hustlers and full-time entrepreneurs face when starting, running, and growing a new business. Join us on Sunday, August 13th at 1 p.m. and register for the Breakthrough Business Brunch today at bit.ly/breakthrough brunch. Your breakthrough is now.
We are so excited at KYND to have back the hit show Do What I Say featuring Dr. Polly Heil Neely. Doc, tell them a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, we're a holistic healthcare clinic. We do everything holistic at Abundant Health and Wellness Clinic, and that's located at 323 East Main Street in downtown Humble, Texas. Or you can call us 281-312-2860.
Tune in every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on KYND.
Hi, this is Nicole R. Coleman, host of the new show, Super Bold Live. Each week, I will feature real people just like you that have stepped out on faith, overcome fear, and made bold moves that transform their lives. We are creating a community of game changers. Listen in each week and let's help you unleash the power within. Bold talk, bold impact, bold transformation. Be sure to connect with me at www.livesuperbold.com.
Super Bowl Live with Nicole R. Coleman. Tuesdays, 7 to 8 p.m. on 1520 KYND.
The power is here. KYND brings you star power. Yolanda Adams.
Can I tell you how excited we are about being at KYND?
Let's think different.
Good morning and welcome back to Zakiya Larry Live. We're talking about HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities. do we even still need them? And so we have some people on the line who have experienced higher education in a couple of different ways, but their foundation happened at HBCUs. We've got Terry Spivey, we have Stephen Board, we have Charles Williams Jr., all highly educated men who have their own perspective on HBCUs. Do we have Terry on the line? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm here.
Wonderful, wonderful. And good morning, Stephen. How are you doing? Can you hear us, Stephen?
Yes, I'm fine.
Wonderful. So listen, we have you three gentlemen here who all have HBCU backgrounds, but let me pose this question. The first, I'll do it a couple of ways. The first is, do we still need HBCUs? And it may seem a little biased because this is a panel of HBCU graduates. So I'd like for you to touch on that question. Do we even still need HBCUs? But more importantly, here's the kicker here. I'd love for you to add if you have had challenges being a graduate from an HBCU when it comes to perception or having a network. What have those challenges been for you? Let's kick that off with Stephen. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us if HBCUs are needed and if you face challenges as a graduate.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Well, first, I'd like to say that I'm a graduate of Lincoln University, which is the first which is the first HBCU. Okay. And our motto is where being first matters.
Where being first matters. I love that. I love that, Stephen. Did you face challenges in your career being a graduate from an HBCU? Did you feel as if the degree was not honored by people reviewing your resume? Did you feel as if you had to maybe extend your education to a traditionally, as they're called, PWIs, a white institution to sort of legitimize your path?
Well, I'll just say that, through my experience with an HBCU and graduating, I actually created a hunger for education. So right after graduating from an HBCU, I went straight into a graduate program and started working and obtaining my master's from a traditional college.
Gotcha.
So after getting my master's, I actually went on to go after and pursue a PhD, but unfortunately, I got sidetracked when I started making money.
Okay.
One of the other things I want to say is, as it relates to being challenged, having a degree from an HBCU, I had the pleasure of being hired by the National Basketball Association.
Okay.
And I can remember working for the NBA, and most of those people that worked there went to Ivy League schools. And a lot of people said to me, well, how did you get here?
Sure.
And I said, the same way you got here. I knew somebody. It was based on, my achievements and based on what I did, working my way up the corporate ladder, that somebody recognized that and said, look, we want you to come bring your talents to the NBA. So there is no difference. And if you're able to meet the challenges, and that's one of the things that you get and gain from an HBCU, is a strong sense of pride, a strong sense of camaraderie, knowing that you have the confidence and the ability to succeed.
Right.
And just as a little side note that Stephen's not saying, those MBA vans that you see around, those promotional vans?
Yes.
He came up with that concept. He created that entire concept the NBA uses today.
Interesting. So innovation as well.
Oh, absolutely. And there's so many things. And just to add, since Charles mentioned that, I actually created the celebrity basketball game that you see on the NBA during All-Star Weekend.
Okay.
As well as there was a truck called the NBA Jam Band. And you're in a highly competitive environment. And so each and every day you come to work knowing that you have to prove yourself.
And that's an HBCU.
I would say through my education at the HBCU, it definitely prepared me for that.
Absolutely. So I heard someone on the line. There's a lot of amen in here.
That was me. Terrence, yeah.
Absolutely. Terry, tell me why tell me what Stephen said that really resonated with you.
I mean, having your own pride, basically, because Charles Williams and I were roommates.
Okay.
At Prairie View. I must say I'm being bipartisan right now because I thought you were from Prairie View. I see you at the TSU.
Absolutely.
Football team. I did love the Tiger Den, though. I loved that during my school times. But one thing I learned in the importance of of the historical black colleges that it's the next best thing to black churches, preserving our own voice. Preserving our own voice, knowing that what you're going to study. You're not just going to study the traditional topics or I'm going to say the traditional world, but there's going to be emphasis on our culture.
Right.
One thing I learned while I was there, I was able to find my own song when I was in school, meaning my own identity. That's that saying, there's a line in Joe Turner's Come and Gone by August Wilson. The whole theme is finding your own song within your own people. And I found that on the campus of Prairie View. And it was never a detriment to me going into the arts. I was artistic director of the oldest black theater in the country, Karamu House here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
I didn't go to Yale University. I didn't go to Juilliard. I didn't go to Harvard. I was told, all of us were told, you have to be 10 steps ahead of those people. And being at a black college allowed me to find my voice.
Wow.
And it also allowed me to find my voice and be independent. I run into many of people. I make many references when I'm working on shows. I'm about to direct a stage reading on the creators of Superman in another couple of weeks here in Cleveland. The creators of Superman who came from Cleveland. And I was able to be an asset to a lot of young people here and a lot of professionals here, African American. So all of them said, "Should I go on to historical black college?" Because they see my pride and my energy in making references to what I learned on campus. Right. And not only that, during the time when I was going, there was a Pop Lock Days, a Lakeside, and Cameo. and hey, because of my experience, we're about to do a Pop Lock workshop at a theater on August 19th, and I'm going to get up there and Pop Lock. I used to Pop Lock back when I was at Prairie View.
Wow.
There's a lot of references that I make. It has never been a hindrance to me when people know I went to a historical black college. There's more richness that comes out of my discussion.
Right. So
it's
Charles,
never a hindrance at all.
Absolutely. Charles, you are really resonating with what Terry is saying, and you said you believe in HBCUs. Why is that?
Well, I believe in them because, and I was going to actually ask Terrence and Stephen to comment on this too, because I think going to a black institution, I think the things that the professors put in your head, and then when you got to the professional environment, you never forgot some of those tangible things, being better than everybody else. So when I got to Channel 13 here in Houston, I excelled. When I got to Channel 11 KHOU, I excelled. Then I got a call to come to New York to work. I never forgot those values. And that's from Celie Turner to Shirley Staples, Diana Fallis, who nurtured us. Ed Shannon, they told us, you can't, like when we were on the radio, he always told us, you can't be bilingual. You can't talk hip-hop or whatever the language was back in the 80s. You have to talk like a broadcaster if that's what you want to do. If you're going to be a theater director, be a theater director. So when I'm training young people now, they tell me I want to be a camera person, or I want to be an editor, I want to be a producer. I say, let's produce. Then I will go through the process of correcting you, telling you how to do your job.
Right.
And that's what we have to do, because if we get all of this, and Terry, he's gone on to win awards. Stephen has won many awards. I've won Emmy awards and stuff like that. But that's not what we're doing this for now. All of us are 50 plus now. If we don't look back and reach back, everything we've done is for nothing.
Right.
That's right.
What I'm hearing, though.
That's right.
Go ahead. What were you saying, Terrence?
I was just saying Sankofa when he said that about reaching back. That's what I thought about Sankofa, the term Sankofa.
Absolutely.
A good example, Celie Turner, that he mentioned was, well, both of our mentors. I mean, he was in terms of theater. One thing, there was a disadvantage at the very beginning when I was at school. We only had two professors, and the only time they taught everything. We had to multitask. We had to not learn about acting. We had to learn to hang the lights. We had to learn to do the props, costumes, put makeup on. And it became an asset to me when I left Prairie View because it allowed me, because I remember he told me once and a couple others, don't drink a glass of water, drink the whole river. And I remember that, and I kept that in my mind when I left and went on to New York. I said I had to go all the way. He wasn't able to teach us everything in class. So I would go to the libraries and learn more about black theater.
Right.
I'm the only one in the city now, Cleveland, that could sit down and talk about black theater, black theater history. And that's because of my training at Caramel House.
And Terry, you know what I call that?
Kept me focused.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Terry, you know what I call that? I think we as a people, we have to stop accepting crumbs. We get excited if somebody throws us a couple of crumbs. I tell young people now, take the whole table. Go and create your own product.
Well, see, and that comes from the mentorship aspect. And I'll say this, guys, because here's what, as a journalist, I never do. I never give one-sided opinion. I don't want this show to be an entire cheerleader fest for HBCUs. And this is coming from Miss Texas Southern University and Miss Southwestern Athletic Conference. So I've represented everybody. To the PB haters, I represented you too. No, I was Miss Swack. But here's the nitty gritty. Let's just get real for a second, guys, because I've had a similar experience as a graduate of an HBCU who has won international awards in public relations, who speaks weekly around the country, who teaches people how to master the media. Here's what I've encountered, and I think this has to be said, that I have walked into arenas because often I'm the only person who looks like me, from the level of melanin in my skin to the way my hair curls. I'm the only person that looks like me. And of course, the obligatory conversation, where are you from? Oh, well, what school? You know, the opening statements. And every time I say Texas Southern University, and I say it with great pride, and I met with blank stares. I met with people who look completely uncomfortable. I met with people who try to figure out where that is, and then they try to piece it together in their mind. And it's not just about location. It's about perception of the validity of my degree.
Yes.
And I've experienced that even going into the newsroom. When I started as a journalist, going into corporate communications, I've heard people who don't look like me, people who have decision-making power say, wow, you're amazing coming out of Texas Southern University, as if the rest of the graduates in their newsroom who were excelling in it at incredible levels were still an anomaly. It's always you made it out. Instead of understanding that these institutions breed excellence. Have you encountered that, gentlemen? We'll start with Stephen. Have you encountered that throughout your career? Because I'm telling you, I encountered it as recently as last week.
You know, I'm going to say absolutely. And, you know, usually my response is, have you heard of Thurgood Marshall? Have you heard of Langston
Exactly.
Hughes? Have you heard of Cab Calloway? Have you heard of Roscoe Lee Brown? All of those people, or Kwame Nkrumah.
Right.
All these people went to Lincoln University. All those people attended an HBCU.
Right.
And that kind of gets them a little quiet. And they go, oh, really? I mean, but there's also other facts, you know, and there's benefits to an HBCU. One, the smaller class sizes.
Absolutely.
Two, personal attention. 3, 40% of African American college grads receive their degrees from an HBCU.
Right.
And that's extremely impressive considering that there's only 105 HBCUs across the United States.
Exactly.
You know, so there's so many other things like that. And also, one other note, 70% of African American doctors and dentists, they came from HBCUs.
That's true. I know that stat very well. And so here's my point. And I'll tell a little bit of my personal story before we go to this quick break. When I applied for college, I didn't apply to a single HBCU. My mother, a graduate, or actually who attended Tennessee State University, that's where my parents met. She then graduated from a public white institute. But I was told I couldn't go to an HBCU. I was told go somewhere and get a degree that is supported and that counts. I was told that you're not going to go there and party my money away, right? And so that's not the first time I've heard that. That just happens to be what happened in my household. And so when we come back, we're going to get into how those perceptions shifted and how my mother, who has an HBCU background, is as proud as she can be of this HBCU graduate and what that means for other students seeking education right now. We will be back with Zakiya Larry Live.
Zakiya Larry Live. Everybody has a past, so together we'll use all of it to unlock your purpose. It's about real life, real talk, real change. Welcome to Zakiya Larry Live. Elevate your week with me, Zakiya Larry of Zakiya Larry Live, every Monday at 10 a.m. on KYND 1520 a.m.
Calling all side hustlers, business owners, and full-time entrepreneurs. It's time for your breakthrough. If you've been struggling with the frustration of how to get unstuck in your industry, then you must join us at KYND Studios as we present the Breakthrough Business Brunch. At the brunch, you'll find answers to those pesky problems all new side hustlers and full-time entrepreneurs face when starting, running, and growing a new business. Join us on Sunday, August 13th at 1 p.m. and register for the Breakthrough Business Brunch today at bit.ly/breakthrough brunch. Your breakthrough is now.
We are so excited at KYND to have back the hit show Do What I Say, featuring Dr. Polly Heil Neely. Doc, tell them a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, we're a holistic healthcare clinic. We do everything holistic at Abundant Health and Wellness Clinic, and that's located at 323 East Main Street in downtown Humble, Texas. Or you can call us 281-312-2860.
Tune in every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on KYND.
Hi, this is Nicole R. Coleman, host of the new show, Super Bold Live. Each week, I will feature real people, just like
IND.
You know how it goes down.
It's about you.
Hey, it's your elevation strategist, Zakiya Larry, and you're listening to Zakiya Larry Live on KYND 1520 a.m.
Zakiya Larry
Good morning and welcome back to Zakiya Larry Live. We're talking about HBCUs. Are they still needed? And when I tell you I am speaking to a panel of graduates who are incredibly acclaimed, highly decorated, graduates of HBCUs, and you know how I like to do. We also get down to the nitty gritty as well. And so I talked about perceptions and the idea that sometimes it seems like HBCU experiences or degrees are not as accepted. And so we're going to unpack that a bit, because if you are a parent and you have a child going into college and you're trying to decide where they should go and what's most beneficial, make sure you're listening up. If you are a student trying to figure out what college you want to go to, listen up. If you are a graduate and you feel as if you're hitting some roadblocks when it comes to your degree, make sure you listen up, because I got to tell you, the stats show that everybody's degree at some point is going to face some sort of resistance, and that comes down to the job market and all that good stuff. And that's another show. We'll get into that. But I want to bring in someone who is a professor at Prairie View A&M University, former on-air radio personality at KPVU 91.3, and she studied broadcast journalism as well. Her name rhymes, so obviously I'm just enjoying this entire moment. Michelle DeSalle, good morning.
Good morning, dear. How are you?
I'm doing incredibly well. Thank you for joining us. So, Michelle, let's disrupt this testosterone for a little bit. The men have been telling us that, you know, they've worked for the NBA, they have nonprofits, and they learned community with their HBCU experience. What was your HBCU experience, and why did you return? Because you are also on campus at Prairie View.
Absolutely. My experience with an HBCU was absolutely phenomenal. And I realized that when I'm in a classroom and I was looking at people that looked like me and they wanted me to have what they had, and they didn't mind giving me that knowledge, per se, was they giving me the game of it, having that hands-on experience, knowing that I had the comfort to go in an office and ask an instructor, what is it that I need to do? What can you help me with? And for them to freely give that knowledge, it's something that you cannot compare, to know that you're not standing there by yourself, and to absolutely have a person that wants you to have that knowledge, because they want you to succeed, because you are a representative of them when you go out into the industry.
Absolutely.
So I would never trade anything for
Michelle,
my HBCU experience.
I love it. Let's take a pause really quickly. You said that you represent them when you go out into the industry.
Absolutely.
Let's breathe on that for a minute, because what I found being at an HBCU is that it's not just education. It's not just curriculum.
Right.
It's community and legacy.
Exactly. That's where you build, really, most times, your first family. Not always your second. And those instructors that were teaching me, they later turned into my colleagues, but those relationships have been long-lasting. I can still call those professors.
Yes.
And we partner together. We collaborate on things together because they train me to be the professional that I am. And I go back and I create bodies of work with these very same people. So it's something you can't put a price on.
Absolutely.
And that representation of them, you don't mind saying who trained you. You don't mind saying Chris Ulassi trained me. You don't mind saying Sandra Walker trained me.
Absolutely.
Because these are the people that, their legacy, and you carry that on, and then you turn into one of those people too.
Absolutely. And it's so amazing because my degree is in broadcast journalism from Texas Southern University,
Absolutely.
as yours is.
Absolutely.
Come on, excellence. I'm sorry, PB, did you want to say something, Prairie View, Lincoln, anybody?
I think they're quiet right now.
Okay,
Don't have anything to say.
I'm just saying,
I'm proud of my university.
As you should, because
you should be.
Texas Southern trained me and PV pays me, so I love both of them.
I love this. I love this. Okay. Here's it. So before we went to break, I shared that my mother told me I could not attend an HBCU. And because I wasn't immersed in the HBCU experience growing up, that didn't bother me. I said, okay. And so I applied to so many other schools, not a single HBCU, and I got into my top schools, including Brown, including Yale. And I received some scholarships, and we were still trying to figure out, because my parents were divorced at that time. I chose Yale, and we were trying to figure out how we were going to pay for this and make this happen. But the thing is, I won an award. I won a $26,000 scholarship. B.B. Moore Campbell, award-winning author, was one of the judges. And so she told me, she looked at me while I was receiving the check and said, oh, where are you taking this money? We hadn't finalized everything with Yale. We were still trying to figure some things out.
Of course.
So I looked around the room and I saw a friend who went to this school called Texas Southern. I had never seen TSU. I didn't know what it is. As a matter of fact, because I was told I could never go to one, I talked trash. When my friend came home from break with a jacket on, I said, what is a Texas Southern? Because I'm Yale. I think I'm doing something. I turned to B.B. Moore Campbell and said, Texas Southern University? Thinking if I didn't know, I know she don't know.
She didn't know, right.
She said, great. When you get there, get on the debate team, call Thomas F. Freeman. Go to this church. My husband's a deacon.
Absolutely.
When I tell you Texas Southern University has been the best lie I have ever told.
Exactly.
Because it has changed my life. And I believe destiny whispers. And I was going where I was told I should go to be relevant as a black woman. And God shifted that thing and sent me to where I was validated as a black woman. And my life has never been the same.
And here's the thing.
Wow.
It's a beautiful thing to know and embrace this skin that you're born in. But when you are on an institution that makes you know that this melanin that you're wearing, it's everything. And it makes, it solidifies and it validates that skill set. And when you walk into a room and people expect you to be great, because when I tell people that I came from Texas Southern University and that I am a journalist, they expect me to be on top of my game.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I am on top of my game because we did not have an option to fail.
There's no option to fail.
No option to fail at all.
As a matter of fact, we have on the line a caller. We have Terrence Gilbert. Good morning. How are you?
Doing well, Zakiya. How are you?
I'm incredible. Listen,
did
this
you hear that
voice? Michelle,
from one journalist to another, yes?
Come on, journalist. Terrence, what are your thoughts on HBCUs?
I believe the HBCUs have left the contributions of HBCUs are invaluable in our past, in our present, and in our future.
Absolutely.
Zakiya, you know me personally. You know that we met on campus at Texas Southern University. We met being student leaders, and now that we've become leaders in our respective fields in our community. So just to kind of piggyback on everything that you all are saying, HBCUs teach you about life. It's not just an education. They give you skills, and the network that I developed from both Texas Southern and Prairie View A&M University are invaluable today. With me being an entrepreneur, with me moving to a different city, it's because of my contacts I made at those institutions that have given me a foundation to be successful.
Wow. Terrence, thank you for sharing that. And I got to tell you, Terrence is a great friend of mine. And I saw him again on the campus of Prairie View A&M University. So this man is ingrained in the HBCU experience and as well as an entrepreneur. So thank you for calling in, Terrence.
Thanks, Zakiya.
One thing I will elevate before we go to break is, again, we already said it, the education is there. We get it. Some of the most dedicated professionals and professors. I know Terrence and Stephen even touched on that as well as Charles. What I will say is people always say HBCUs are a family, a family, a family. I need the listening audience to understand what that really means. What does that mean? People just assume because you're black and then we like each other. I'll share really quickly that when I got to Texas Southern University, because of things I experienced at home, I was stressed, I was tired, I was sad. And it was my professor, Maurice Hope Thompson.
Oh, don't you dare mention that wonderful man.
Pulled me to
Isn't
the
he
side.
just a most amazing person?
Pulled me to the side and said, I see greatness in you, but you're not pushing forward. What's going on? And I unloaded my little teenage heart, and this man walked me through how to reconcile some things with my father. Oh my gosh, how to reconcile with my father. When I was sick and stuck in bed, and other professors that people are lauding told basically that I was a loser, I wasn't doing anything. I literally was fighting for my life and didn't know I was sick, didn't know that I could have passed away. Maurice Hope Thompson said, if you can drag yourself up here, you can take this exam. And because of Maurice Hope Thompson, I was able to get back into student leadership. And get back. You can't learn that. That's not just education. That's life.
That's life. And it's amazing that you would mention him because he too taught me. And I remember getting my first professional interview with Roland Martin. And after I'd recorded it and everything in the studio, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this was really great. And I remember him coming up to me and saying, Desel, let me have that, will you? Like, well, what are you going to do with it? He played my interview for 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 weeks straight. He played my interview. And Roland and I were having dialogue about the presidential election and all of that type of thing. And that made such a significant difference in my life. And if you were ever a student of Hope Thompson, he always gave you a book, and he autographed the book. Always gave you a book. And it just, those are the things that keep you and that help solidify your mark in this industry when people like him co-sign you.
My gosh, we're going to go deeper and hear from Charles when we come back from this break. We're changing lives and shedding tears. It's Zakiya Larry Live.
Are you stagnant in your growth? Do you want to leverage your career? How do you build your cash flow in your current position? Meet us and hundreds of women at Royal Sonesta on August 10th at 11 a.m. and learn from Cheryl Crusoe and Shanora Grow, who have earned millions in their field. This is a call out to real estate agents, title companies, stagers, insurance, financial planners. You can expect networking, education,
with me, Zakiya Larry of Zakiya Larry Live, every Monday at 10 a.m. on KYND 1520 a.m.
Calling all side hustlers, business owners, and full-time entrepreneurs. It's time for your breakthrough. If you've been struggling with the frustration of how to get unstuck in your industry, then you must join us at KYND Studios as we present the Breakthrough Business Brunch. At the brunch, you'll find answers to those pesky problems all new side hustlers and full-time entrepreneurs face when starting, running, and growing a new business. Join us on Sunday, August 13th at 1 p.m. and register for the Breakthrough Business Brunch today at bit.ly/breakthrough brunch. Your breakthrough is now.
We are so excited at KYND to have back the hit show, Do What I Say, featuring Dr. Polly Heil Neely. Doc, tell them a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, we're a holistic healthcare clinic. We do everything holistic at Abundant Health and Wellness Clinic, and that's located at 323 East Main Street in downtown Humble, Texas. Or you can call us 281-312-2860.
Tune in every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on KYND.
Hi, this is Nicole R. Coleman, host of the new show, Super Bold Live. Each week, I will feature real people just like you that have stepped out on faith, overcome fear, and made bold moves that transform their lives. We are creating a community of game changers. Listen in each week and let's help you unleash the power within. Bold talk, bold impact, bold transformation. Be sure to connect with me at www.livesuperbold.com.
Super Bowl Live with Nicole R. Coleman, Tuesdays, 7 to 8 p.m.
And the real question is, do we still need them? Are they still relevant? And what's been so incredible is that this conversation has opened up not just personal experiences of the folks joining me on the line, including Terrence Spivey, Stephen Board. We have in the studio Charles Williams. We have in the studio Michelle DeSalle. And so not only have we learned about their experiences with HBCUs, but we've talked about some challenges and how those have been overcome. And so, Charles, before we went to break, Michelle and I shared our experience about a professor, Maurice Hope Thompson, and how he essentially elevated who we are in our careers. And in my case, I really, truly credit him with saving the relationship with my father and my family. And you had some thoughts on that.
Well, when I'm talking to young people, I tell them all the time, first of all, you can't succeed without a circle of people around you.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The people you hang with is what you'll become. And when you were telling the story about your professor, I always say to them, if your wings are not strong enough to fly, fly on somebody else's wings until your wings are strong enough.
Wow.
And when Michelle was telling the story about Roland Martin, it reminded me about 6 months after I graduated from Prairie View, Roland was my student in high school. And he literally tapped me on the shoulder about 10 years after that and said, I'm a journalist now. I work for the Chicago Defender. And I'm saying all that to say that just like our professors touched our lives,
right,
we're now in a position to touch other lives. And we have to really think about what we're doing, how we're building our careers, and how we're reaching back. Because somebody needs us to go, you can do this.
Right.
I was speaking to my nieces last night.
Right.
My niece is an incredible designer, but she's more shy than I was back in the day. I mean, people think I talk a lot now, but for 12 years in high school, I said nothing.
Wow.
Terry probably remember when I was at Prairie View, I sat quietly.
Wow.
But somebody told me, you have to start talking if you're going to do this.
Yes.
And I did. And, they supported me because we were roommates throughout the 4 years and everything. And we always supported each other. If he was doing something in theater, we supported him. If I was doing something in communication, they supported me. And we had a slew of friends that we still support today. And we've all been connected for 35 years, and we've never lost that connection.
I love it. I love it. So to the entire panel, if you'll just jump in and share maybe a sentence to encapsulate this, but there's a school of thought that PWIs or, predominantly white institutions are better for whatever reason, better from a perception standpoint, better from a degree legitimacy standpoint. There has been a pervasive thought that PWI means better. If each person on the line, we'll start with Terrence and go to Stephen, will you address that? Is it better? And I know let's not do that question because we know you don't think it's better. You graduated from an HBCU. But with that pervasive thought, where does that come from and how do you combat it? Or do you even think it's your job to combat that? We'll start with Terrence. You there? Do we have Stephen?
I'm sorry?
Oh, Terrence, can you hear us?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. So there's a pervasive thought that predominantly white institutions are better when it comes to degree legitimacy. We know that you have a different experience, but just if you'll give us one or two quick little points on your thoughts about that whole concept of better. How do you combat that? Where does that come from?
That comes from the culture. It goes across the board, not just through the schools, but everything else. That's what they believe. But going to HBCU, here again, I've been. People think I came from, like I said before, I came from Yale and Harvard because I was artistic director of the oldest black theater in the country, which is here in Cleveland.
Right.
And I came from HBCU school, and I was definitely a wonderful example for some of the students I've talked to in some of the schools here, high schools and junior high schools. They want to know where is Prairie View.
Yes.
That just comes from their culture. That goes across the board. They think they're better at everything, film, actors, and that's not the case.
So you're saying it's not necessarily about the university. Go ahead.
HBCU is the best. They may be better, but we're the best.
Wow. I love that. I love that you're illuminating that it comes from a pervasive culture across the board in our country.
Yes.
That black does not equal excellence when it comes to stereotypes. And so it's so interesting that you illuminated that. Stephen, what are your thoughts when you hear or encounter the pervasive better?
Well, I'll first say that, I come from a legacy of HBCUs. I grew up, my mother went to North Carolina A&T, so I grew up going to the homecomings. And as I got older and became an adult and got married, I did the same thing for my kids. They grew up going to HBCUs. And I would say, for example, one of my daughters went to North Carolina A&T. The other one went to Hampton. And my youngest one that went to Hampton, she had an internship at a corporation in New York City called Macy's.
Okay.
And as part of that, she was thrown in doing this internship. They have a little thing where they hire like 1% of their interns. So, and they recruited from predominantly white institutions and not HBCUs. So when my daughter got the opportunity, I said, this is your time to show what you're worth, to show who you are.
Yes.
And she went up against the Ohio States and the UCLAs and everybody else, and I told her, the goal is to make sure you get this job. She went in, just like everybody else. Her girlfriend that went to Howard, they went in, they fought every single day. And once she went back to college, the first thing she got was a letter from Macy's saying, you're hired.
Wow.
Now when you hired, here's a signing bonus.
Right.
We told her, and it showed her she's just as good or better than all those others.
Absolutely. True grit. True grit coming from where she came from.
Exactly. It teaches you that, as again, I said before, that sense of pride, that strong sense of pride that you get, you develop that, and you develop the confidence to go out. Because every single day you had to prove themselves.
Prove it every day. I love that. Thank you, Stephen. Charles, what are your thoughts?
And I'll be as brief as I possibly can. I'm not even going to use the expression is one better than the other.
Okay.
I think what we have to stop doing this thing that I think we did after integration, thinking somebody else water is colder or better. We need to build up our institutions. As Stephen was just talking about, his mom, he, and his daughters. That's how you make a school special. The way we talk about Prairie View, or and Mr. Sell talks about TSU.
Right.
We have to build that up in the minds of our kids.
Absolutely.
That this is where I want to go. Right. Because just a few years ago, those were our only choices.
Right.
Now, because we've made a little money, we want to send our kids somewhere else.
Right.
No, we have to stop that.
That's right.
That's taking crumbs from somebody else's table. Build your own table, then you control everything.
Ooh, build your own table, then you control everything. Michelle.
Here's my perspective. Everybody understands what a diversion is, yes?
Yes.
Well, I truly believe that a diversion is to make you wonder and to make you doubt.
Right.
Because here's the thing. That diversion of this is better and that is better, it is so that if you are trained at an HBCU, you are going to absolutely get that knowledge.
Absolutely.
So, because if you get in there and you compete with us in a radio studio, television studio, radio, television, film, we are a force to be reckoned with because we were absolutely taught. No one had a position waiting for us because somebody knew dad, somebody knew somebody in the break room.
You got to earn it.
You just have to get the paper and we plug you in. But then when you see our skill set, we can work circles around you because we truly got that knowledge. It's all a diversion, darling.
All a diversion. I love it. You know what? Thank you for joining us here on Zakiya Larry Live. I'm going to leave you with your 1 minute elevate. Listen, it doesn't matter where you come from. It's about where you're going. And if you have a good foundation and a nice community around you, the sky isn't even the limit. How do I know? It's footprints on the moon. Thank you for listening to Zakiya Larry Live. Let's do this again next week.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you to my incredible guest.
Thank you.